Screamers. Will Pound, harmonica player, melodeon player,
Yep.
folk legend, fan of everything traditional.
Yep.
Welcome to Creative Cuppa.
How you doing? You're right.
I am very well, thanks. Thanks for coming on. So I know this story, and lots of people will know this story, but for our listeners, could you tell everyone how you took up the harmonica? Because that's quite an interesting way of getting into an instrument, isn't it?
It is, and it's quite interesting. It's quite a poignant story at the moment, actually. So basically, when I was about, I think I must have been about 11 or 12, possibly a little bit younger. I can't remember, to be honest. It's a bit of a blur, but I took up the harmonica. My dad gave me a harmonica originally, and the reason why he gave it me was because when I was very tiny, I had open heart surgery, and obviously as a result of that, I had breathing sort of difficulties when I was growing up, and so it was quite a bizarre thing really to get into playing an instrument through ill health, essentially, and so I took it up, and then there was a guy, a friend of my dad's who played in his band called Steam Tune, a guy called Ted. Who unfortunately recently actually just passed away from the virus, so it's quite a sort of poignant thing at the moment.
Wow, okay. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but he sort of encouraged me to play and sort of gave me a few sort of lessons, so to speak, to sort of start me off, and then I sort of carried on my own. And that's how I sort of got into it, really. Yeah, it was through health reasons. So it wasn't the most obvious route, but what I find fascinating is that what I find amazing is the fact that the doctors and nurses gave me that chance to live, and it's been quite nice to sort of take advantage of that,
Absolutely, and also, I've seen you tackle other instruments in the last few years, and so I can imagine the way you approach the harmonica was in exactly the same way.
Yeah,
and you just don't stop, do you, until you've mastered something?
I try. I mean, the piano less so, but I mean, I do play the piano a bit. But
even the piano. It's not like you went, right, I want to play Three Blind Mice.
No,
you wanted to tackle boogie woogie as a style.
Yeah. I was like, right, well, let's have a go at that. Yeah. And the melodeon particularly, I mean, in the last few years I played a lot more as well, and because it's related to the harmonica essentially and how it works, it's a very similar instrument. So in terms of how, so harmonica, you blow in, you blow out, you blow in, you blow out, and the melodeon is exactly the same, but just going in, out. So the scales work the same. So so that's been great, and it's meant that I can transfer between each instrument and use them at the same time as well. It's been quite fun.
On a harmonica, you have two different tunings, don't you?
On harmonica, harmonica is interesting. So you have the small harmonica, which is what they call the diatonic harmonica or blues harmonica. It doesn't have different tunings as such, but it has. But you can get different tunings. You can have different scales on them. People can make different scales on the small harmonica.
Oh yes, I meant from one harmonica to
another. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do get that. And then obviously on chromatic harmonica, you have, so if you had one in C, you'd have a C major scale, and then you push the button in and you have C sharp. There's a button slide at the end and you have C sharp. So in that sense you do get, different tones, different scales and stuff. Yeah, it's good fun.
So let's talk about your album. You've released several albums over the years. This one's more of a personal project for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is, yeah.
Traditional music from around Europe. Tell me a bit about it. How did it come about? And
Well, so obviously there's been the Brexit sort of debate going on, and obviously it kind of tore apart the country really, which is very sad. And so I kind of thought, well, what's a nice way to celebrate European culture, but also to try and bring people together a bit, people from both sides of the debate, and so music can be very good at doing that, and storytelling as well. So I had this idea of, sort of 27, the EU 27, and
making it easy for yourself.
I mean, it was logistical nightmare, applying for the art, getting an Arts Council grant to start with, and then to meet, and then to communicate with all the other musicians, and to find all that material as well. I mean, that was probably the most challenging. I mean, the logistics of doing the recording and stuff like that was nothing compared to the research. I mean, because you're trying to think of several things. You want the melodies to be relatively simple so that other people who hear the album can play it. you want it to be simple so that the arrangements can be nice, and you're not worrying about playing a really difficult tune. There are a few sort of challenging tunes on there, but I mean, really, what I was looking for were tunes that you wouldn't also think were the national tunes or the national styles. So, for example, the Greek tunes that I put on there, Greek and Greece and Cyprus, you wouldn't have thought they were from there because they're not crazy fast tunes in minor keys and harmonic minor, and also, like, for example, in Austria, like the tune I have on there, which was researched by a German fiddle player, a friend of mine, Gudrun. She found one which was almost Scandinavian in style, Scandinavian fiddle.
Wow, okay.
It's a Northern Austrian tune, and so pre First World War, there's huge collections of tunes like that.
So did you find you were discovering and learning a lot?
Yeah,
just by doing it.
Loads, yeah. I mean, like one of my favourite tunes was this tune from Luxembourg. Which is like a processional dance. They have like a national event they have every year, and it's actually I think it's quite a religious event actually. I think it's a Catholic event, and it was really. But the tune is a brass band tune, and it's got like 5 parts. It's totally bonkers.
Wow.
But it was a massive challenge for me because it was in B flat and E flat, and I was having to play it on a DG box, melodeon. So I was like having to figure out how to play in B flat and E flat, which is great. So it was challenging at the same time, and also learning all these tunes was great because it actually affected my learning process. It changed my learning process of melody. So I learned all the melodies on the piano first, and taught myself some basic chords with it, and then I put the harmonica and the box on top. So which is interesting because usually it's the other way around. By ear I would do the harmonica or the box first, and then put the piano chords on afterwards or whatever. Whereas this way, it was better, and it gave me a better understanding of the structure, the chords. So I had the tune in my head already because I could see the piano in my head, So it was a quicker process doing it that way. I mean, it was more painful in some ways because I'm not a pianist, So it's like, but having a visual element was really useful, and I haven't changed since then. That's how I'm learning tunes now as well, and it's a lot quicker process. It's more painful, but it's better,
So this album will be out tomorrow for people to buy, won't it?
Yeah, May the 8th. So I'm looking forward to it actually, and it's been nice to have quite a lot of pre-orders in advance and things like that. And there's been some great support out there for the album. I mean, obviously it's a tricky time, obviously at the moment, because the tour got cancelled. So it's been rescheduled for next year, most of the dates. So we're still sorting all that out at the moment. It's a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. It's just so nice that I can still release it. And I'm self-releasing as well. So for the first time, completely self-releasing. So yeah, it's great. I just hope that it gives a bit of light to the situation at the moment that everyone's in. People can have a listen. And
very much so. Where will people be able to go and buy that?
They'll be able to buy it from a few places. I mean, the main source that I use is Bandcamp, so you can buy it physically from there and also digitally. Which is great, and that's the nicest sort of. They're the most sort
yes, they are friendly to artists as well, aren't they?
They're great, and then there's probably Amazon and things like that as well, and iTunes and all the rest of it. But I mean, go to Bandcamp because they're great. They're good to artists.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. They recently actually did a day where they just donated all the profits, so artists got 100% of the
profit, which is
fees.
Incredible, yeah.
So talking of going online and finding things, where can people find you online?
Well, I have a website, so it's and I've had a new website done recently, so which is really nice and snazzy. So it's www.willpound.com, and then they can find me on YouTube. There's plenty of videos, harmonica videos and box videos and stuff on there, with various different outfits, different bands and projects and stuff. And in fact, I've just done some filming with a new duo that I'm in with a fiddle and singer player. She's amazing. She's called Phoebe Reese, and she plays the fiddle and sings at the same time. It's staggering. I saw her first play last year at Shrewsbury Folk Festival, and on a recommendation of a couple of friends, and I was staggered. So I thought, right, got to play some music with her. And it's been really. It's been great actually, and we've been sort of discussing different music styles. And she lived she was out visiting Brazil for a bit, and so she learnt some Brazilian music. So that's something I've never done before. So I'm learning that, and that is difficult music. It's not easy. So it's it's fascinating. It's their like type of traditional music, because there's different obviously styles in Brazil. There's samba, and then there's the other style, which is the sort of more folky, jazzy kind of style. And like the chord sequences are not, they're like, they're hardcore. They're great. It's good. It's good. It's a bit of a, it's a headache, but it's a good headache.
Fantastic. Well, I'll put all your website and social media links into the show notes so people can find you, and your ad hoc kind of little performances that you do. You just chuck your phone down and get your harmonica out, don't you? And...
Yeah, it's been good on online actually, because I think what's also been nice is, I was chatting to a friend about this the other day, is that because basically everyone's in the same boat, so there's a lot of people who wouldn't usually do videos who now are, and that's been really nice, because it's been nice to see people who wouldn't usually perform or feel like they can't perform actually going out and doing videos, online videos, and you get to see their talent. And that's what I've really enjoyed, actually, seeing lots of different people do that. And also, and that goes from like the major stars of the folk world. So someone like Sharon Shannon did a live video, and she's quite famous in the folk world, and she did one, and it was great, and people really responded to it. And and yeah, it's just been really nice seeing, and I think what's been nice is just the music community kind of coming together.
Yeah.
Not just folk, but I mean like from all strands of the music scene, because they've had to.
And lots of organisations as well supporting, because I compose for a living, so I still have royalties coming in, but a lot of you guys, touring musicians,
the gigs just stopped.
That's it. No more.
That's
no more
it
income.
Until probably. Well, we don't know. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, all my gigs so far have been cancelled. So it's August is like all my August shows have been cancelled. Nothing in September yet, but but it's. I mean, I suspect that will go at some point.
So if you're listening to this and you are one of those people who've been touring, you can go to Musicians Union. I think they have a hardship fund.
Help Musicians UK.
There are lots of places, lots of organisations.
Arts Council are doing, a sort of grant, $2.5 grant. I think it has some conditions, but it's just worth looking at, just in case you are eligible.
And especially if you're a member of an organisation like the EU. It's worth just.
It is worth,
looking at their website.
People are getting it. People are, are getting that money. I know a few people have been in very tricky positions, and have managed to sort of get some money, and really do apply, because it's worth applying.
And at the very least, we can share each other's work and put a spotlight on each other.
Definitely, I think it's really important.
Fantastic. Well, Will Pound, thank you ever so much for joining me for a cuppa.
Yeah, it's been great fun.